Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now May 12th of 2025, and given that the Meghan Markle situation is only getting worse and worse every single time that Meghan decides to actually go against the critics, decides to actually go against Netflix CEO Greg Peters. Now, Greg Peters, by the way, he has been trying to tame the entire situation of what's been going on for With Love Meghan Season 2. Again, it's not really a Season 2, it's just Season 1 Part 2. But he's been trying to really cut back on a lot of things that Meghan and the board of directors are in full agreement on exactly what they want to actually insert into that show. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing about Meghan Markle right now is that we already know that she's beginning to actually go against not just critics, but also her very own fans. And some of you out there may be thinking to yourselves, she actually has fans? Well, she does, but she's losing them. She's bleeding fans day in, day out. We already know that there's a lot of things going on right now with Meghan Markle. She's trying to actually basically make a deal with any kind of studio that allows her to give her a chance. Meanwhile, more and more studios within the Hollywood bubble are beginning to wake up. They want nothing to do with Meghan Markle's drama. They don't want anything to do with her overall issues that she creates both behind the scenes and in the public eye. But this is where it gets really intriguing, because we already know that Meghan Markle is already deciding to actually go against not just critics, but also now fans that she actually lost, and how she's obviously getting very bitter. She's obviously allowing reality to settle in her mind at this point, because, well, it's becoming more and more clear that she really just doesn't really have the support that she thinks that she has. So, with the Meghan Markle drama going out of control behind the scenes at Netflix as we speak, and how things are only getting worse, one major development going on now involves more to do with Meghan Markle and her reaction after losing fans of her own after the criticism went viral for With Love Meghan and what looms for the next season. Now, Markle delivered the following as a last-ditch effort to win back her fans that walked away. You know, what hurts the most is when people that once supported you just don't really see eye to eye anymore and don't really care for your work all because of the loud noise coming from the minority on social media and mainstream media. It's a very unfortunate thing because I don't think that they are getting the education that they need to understand that I'm a person, I have goals, and my series is about fixing and supporting women in the household. But to me, to see your own followers walk away from that, I think is extremely disheartening. And it truly splits your spirit when you are trying to go on with your work or focus on yourself. Look, I'm an emotional person. This Meghan that you see is a very emotional person. I'm dealing with all sorts of emotions at the same time, and it can interfere with your work. But the core of this issue that we all need to tackle are the toxic males contributing to this challenge that I have been dealing with day in and all the time. And it's just easy. It's just not easy. We will be really addressing those very issues in With Love Meghan Season 2, and I think it's going to really bring in a whole new viewership, and it will help us all. And I can only hope that those that decided to walk from my work perhaps have a second thought to realize that what they did was wrong and decided from a very wrong place of false narratives getting thrown out there. Now guys, before I move on, let me just say one thing about Meghan Markle. She's obviously stumbling on her words. She's really talking all over the place. She doesn't know what she's talking about at this point. But she is actually beginning to realize that even supporters of her own are walking away. As I said earlier in this video, she is bleeding fans for obvious reasons. People are beginning to just wake up about how out of whack she truly is when she's trying to promote With Love Meghan Season 2, when she's also, talking about her brand as ever all the time, and coming across as more and more phony to the general public. Word of mouth is getting out there, and quite frankly, guys, more people are beginning to understand who Meghan Markle really is deep down. So she goes on to continue, people don't know the real Meghan. People don't understand the real me. And you are going to see plenty of that in Season 2. It's really something to see that you think you know your fans until they decide to make such a sudden decision based on inaccurate descriptions of who I am. I can promise everyone that I am the most authentic, caring woman, and I really wanted to incorporate that into Season 2, and how women can decide to be the same. So in the end, hopefully they won't stay away forever. Those that walked away from my work are obviously misguided by toxic demographics. with very loud and noisy opinions that should never really be told or celebrated across mainstream or social media. Again, I mean, there she goes about how people are misguided, people are uneducated if you don't like someone's work. This is basically the same exact thing that Alec Baldwin threw out there when people were questioning him as an actor, questioning him as a person. It's all about, just pointing the finger at the general public and saying, if you don't agree with my opinion, well, then you're uneducated citizens or you're misguided. And that really just does not work. If anything, that drives away your fans or even potential fans away further and further. And it's just not going to work in the end. And this is exactly why Netflix is in a downward spiral when it comes to Meghan Markle. They don't know quite what to do at this point. Season 2, yes, it is still a go. It is not canceled. We do know that there have been some split decisions between the board of directors. Some board members, that aren't really all that sided with Meghan Markle. They are calling for this thing to be scrapped just a couple of months before this thing debuts on Netflix. Meanwhile, the majority of the board, the ones that actually support Markle, they want this thing out there, but they also want to give up on Meghan Markle after quote-unquote season 2. Essentially, they just want to deal with her, basically what they've done so far, and then after that, they're calling it quits. So, again, we know that Meghan Markle is beginning to realize that as well, and I think it's also contributing to why she's acting overly bitter now. I would definitely say more bitter than usual. She goes on to conclude, I am truly upset about it, but I am trying to lift myself back up to really regain my creative spirit with season 2 and what I have to offer. It's going to be quite something. It's going to be something that no other has done before for a show about my life in the household. Everyone needs to calm down and keep their inflammatory opinions in their own mind, and they just should not be put out there vocally. I don't deserve that, and most certainly no other woman on this show does either. Again, I mean, there she goes about how people should just keep their opinions to themselves. She wants to control free speech. She wants to control people expressing their own opinions on an actual series on Netflix. Look, we know that it's just not Meghan Markle that's contributing to this disaster. We know that everything about the show is a disaster. The writing, the way it's produced, the marketing, everything about it is just across the board a failure for Netflix. And this is exactly why Greg Peters is not happy about this. It's actually dragging down his reputation as a CEO. I mean, let's not forget about other factors that are making Netflix worse right now is the rising rates and the removal of fan-favorite content on there. We already lost The Karate Kid Part 1 through 3 that shifted over to Hulu, and Netflix is about to dump other movies and TV shows off of their platform in the coming months, within the next 3 to 6 months. Again, I think that you're going to lose more Netflix customers the more that they actually decide to do that. But this Meghan Markle show, it's not helping one bit. It is not helping at all. Once this thing debuts in the fall, this is going to be plastered on the home screen of Netflix, and people are just not going to want to look at that. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about Meghan Markle losing fans and how she's reacting to that, of course, sudden realization at this point. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.